Every company nowadays is in their journey for cloud transformation. When we are into cloud transformation, we'll be hearing about on-premise data center, private cloud, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, managed services, and finally the public cloud. Let us look into some of these terms. On-premise data center. If a company wants some software to be built, that software needs some data center. That means it needs some servers to run. So those servers will be deployed into the data center owned by that company. The initial cost required for this is so high because before you start your business, you'll have to have a data center. For the data center, you'll have to spend so much money for buying the servers, networking, the real estate, and everything. After that, the cost will be very minimal because we already have the data center. We have the servers, we bought all the servers, everything is ready. Now we'll deploy our software, and any maintenance required or any physical security required, networking changes, all those things are the only cost when we run that software. Another type of data center is private cloud. Here the difference is instead of company owning all this real estate and the server, they'll come to an agreement with a cloud vendor. So that cloud vendor will buy system for the company. Company has to come up with a contract maybe for 2 or 3 years with that cloud vendor, and company has to give the requirements, how many servers they need. So depending on that, the private cloud vendors will buy the servers, they will set up the network, they'll set up the system for the company, and they will maintain the servers. This company just have to pay for the machines they use from the cloud vendor. Here you can see that two companies are there. They are using the same cloud vendor, and the machines used by company one is not shared for the company two. Here also, there's a initial cost. When they come up with a contract, they'll have to pay for the cloud vendor and the machines they have ordered. All those expense will be there. In the case of a private cloud as well as for the on-premise data center, if you want to build a software for the market requirement, they'll have to plan in advance for the infrastructure. Public cloud. Here also the diagram looks similar to what we have seen for the private cloud. We can see one more thing. Here a individual also can request for a machine to a public cloud vendor. How this works is the cloud vendor will have a huge data center. There they will have so many machines available. Each physical machine, they will split it into multiple virtual machines of different configurations, maybe 10 CPUs and 32 GB RAM, something like that. So whenever the company needs a machine of some capacity, they'll ask that to cloud vendor. For all these, you don't need to inform the cloud vendor in advance. You just need to have a account with the public cloud vendor and the payment setups. After that, whenever you need a machine, you just request to online and you will be getting the machines. In this case, company one asked for a machine and they got the virtual machine one. Then the company two asked for a machine. They also got a virtual machine from the same physical machine. Here, company two cannot see the data of company one, even though it is in the same physical machine, because that security is assured by public cloud vendor. So this way, how many ever machines you want, you just order and you start running your software there. You can see that even if I want a virtual machine, I can go and order that and I'll get it. So whenever your requirement is done, you can just release the machine so that after that you will not be charged. And same machine may be assigned to the second company. But there's no data shared here. Here, the public cloud vendor will take care of wiping the disk and making the machine secure for another company to use. Here you can see that you are not spending any money upfront. So whenever you want to start a business, then you will build your software. After that, whenever you need a machine, at that time you request a public cloud vendor and get the machine, run your software. When you are done, you just release the machine. So that way, you are not restricted by the infrastructure for going to market. When we talk about the public cloud, these are the few terms you hear. Infrastructure as a service. Here, cloud vendor will provide compute, disk, and network capabilities. So all those capabilities are provided. It's a plain machine that is provided to you. Only the OS will be there. So it is your responsibility to deploy all the softwares you need. If my company wants to store some data in a database, the platform for that database, that is the database engine. Here my company is using MySQL. So this MySQL deployment and maintenance is the responsibility of the company. After that, you will start creating the database and tables and loading the data. Actual company's requirement is maintaining the database and the data, not the platform which is the MySQL. But since we are using infrastructure as a service, it's just machine and the storage. So platform deployment is also company's responsibility. Another term is platform as a service. Only one difference. Here, platform is maintained by cloud vendor. So cloud vendor will deploy the database engine, here MySQL. And they will take care of maintaining the patches or security patches, anything, any upgrades, anything required, cloud vendor will take care of. Company just have to focus on their business, creating database, storing the data, all those things. Software as a service, it is not specific to a cloud vendor. A service vendor will be there. They build some applications specific to a business requirement, and that application will be provided to all the customers. Each company can customize it through some configurations and use that software. One of the example is Office 365. There we are not building any application or anything. We just use that service provided by the service vendor. If you are working with public cloud, managed service or fully managed service is something you hear most of the times. The managed service is nothing but managed by cloud vendor. Same as the platform as a service. There, the MySQL software is maintained and managed by cloud vendor. That's what we are speaking here. In the case of managed services, we need not worry about the platform softwares or maintaining that or patches, nothing like that. Everything will be managed by cloud vendor themselves. Next one is the serverless application. Does it mean that our application can run without a server? Definitely not. Here what we say is the server requirement is managed by cloud vendor themselves. We just build the application and provide to the cloud vendor saying that for running my application, I need 30 GB memory and 3 vCPUs. We just give the requirement for the application and how many machines to be run, how much scaling need to be done depending on the requirement. All those will be managed by cloud vendor themselves. Some of the examples are in AWS you have Lambda functions, in GCP you have Cloud Function, and so many other services are available like this as a serverless application. Last thing what we are going to discuss about is CapEx and OpEx. CapEx is the capital expenditure, OpEx is the operational expenditure. In the case of public cloud infrastructure, people says CapEx is converted into OpEx. In the case of on-premise data center, we have discussed that if I want to build a software, we need to plan for the infrastructure in advance. That means we have to spend money to enhance my infrastructure before I build my software. That means it's a capital cost. That means the initial investment I am doing for building my software or providing service to my customer. Benefit of that one is we have spent all the money required in advance. After that, your operational cost is very minimal. In the case of startups, they need so much money in advance to start a software company. because they have to spend so much money for building their infrastructure first. Then they build the software and go to market. In the market, that software may succeed or fail. If it fails, the money spent on the infrastructure is a waste. This is the mood in the case of public cloud infrastructure. There, you don't buy any infrastructure in advance. You just build your software. Whenever you need infrastructure, you will run it from the public cloud as and when you need. And when you are done with that infrastructure, or your business is not running well, you just release that infrastructure and your cost stops there. That way, it is so much helpful for startups and any other company. Now, the requirement is go to market has to be fast. They'll just build their software, they'll go to public cloud, get the infrastructure, deploy their software, and provide services to their customer. So, these are some of the terms you hear in the case of public cloud, and I think you would have got some idea about these terms. And thank you.